Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
It's not over till that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast. My name is Katie, and I am joined part of the You Run Podcast Network. My name is Katie. I'm joined by Charlie and Chantel. Say hi.
Hello. All right.
And yet again, we are joined by the lads at Check the Candy. Hey, guys.
Hey.
What's up?
It's been a while. How have you guys been?
Been a shit ton of time.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Nice
Charlie.
to hear your voices again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Charlie.
yeah. We missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been too long. We shouldn't be that long again.
Let's not leave it this long again. Let's just not do it.
Can we just appreciate Katie just literally? I'm Katie as you're pouring a beer. My favorite thing.
Just got to get it all in, man. It's not a lot of time.
Cool. Well, we have, as I say, if anyone has listened to our Hatchet episode, we are following straight on. So welcome to the continued chaos, and the drinking has continued. We are now covering Late Night with the Devil. I was going to type in Last Night with the Devil. The 2023 film. So in 1977, a live television broadcast goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. Okay, everyone. How do we feel about this one?
Everyone.
Everyone.
This is a wild one to cover.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what everybody feels
I'm
about
literally
this one.
so excited to talk about this. You have no idea. So
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
assuming-
Taylor, you start us off.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
well, fuck me. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to hear everybody else's thoughts.
Was this okay? Who has seen this? Like, because this was my first time watching it. Because obviously it is still quite new. I know, Kate? I think
Yeah.
you went to see it in the cinema.
Yes.
So had
Really?
anyone else seen it before?
Yeah, you guys got early releasings of it too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
it's awesome.
I didn't see it till last weekend.
I saw it today.
I saw it last night.
Mhm.
All right, good. So we're fresh.
We're
Right? We're
fresh.
fresh. Awesome. John, did you rewatch it?
I did not rewatch it, but I remember everything about this movie.
I think you should have
It's-
rewatched it.
It's
but-
still. You told me not to. You asswipe.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. I think you should have. I don't think you should have listened to me.
Fuck, you set me up to fail, man. Shit.
No, not like that.
No pressure.
No,
pressure.
I was saying for my personal, and I'm not giving it anything, but
No, I watched it, and I'll say it's a hard movie to forget. Like, it's not like just one that you forget, but like,
Hmm.
I don't know. This is a really hard one to cover because here's the thing. Let's start off with this. This is a Shudder original, technically, right?
hold on. Are we doing spoilers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
care.
Okay.
All right, fuck
People
it.
like we name the episode what the film is, so people know what they're coming in for.
Okay.
All
okay.
right, cool.
All right. All right. Fuck it. We're doing spoilers. Fuck them, dude. Fuck it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'll start off with this is a Shudder original, right?
Mhm.
So I think if anybody has watched any Shudder originals, I don't know if you guys have seen Skinamarink,
Me?
if you have seen Deadstream.
I haven't seen that
um,
yet.
Okay, well listen,
Should.
yeah,
I really want to.
it's one of the best movies of all time. That's a stretch, but I'm just saying
It's a stretch.
it's a huge stretch, but I went into that movie not even knowing anything about it. And like, here we go again, talking about other movies. But that movie, I'm just saying that Shudder, you just don't know what you're going to get with Shudder. You really don't. Like, I understand it's a great streaming platform for horror fans because it can have anything from fucking the new Creep Show series to Skinamarink, which is like, if you took like a pile of dog shit and put it in a cup and drank it, that's kind of what you're getting with that movie. Um,
Fair.
and then you have stuff like Deadstream, where it's this out of nowhere fucking amazing movie that should have gone to theaters, unlike Skinamarink. Okay. So you don't really know what you're gonna get with them. And this one was this is the one thing I'll say is it was so overhyped. This movie was so overhyped, man. I was so excited for this film that like I think it took so long to come out, and like we didn't get screeners here for it like at all. Like it didn't come to theaters until it was in theaters for maybe 2 weeks, and then it went on Shudder. So we got to see it like super late. And I think the way it was marketed, which Shudder does a great job at, obviously. It's kind of like A24 films with me. It's like you get this super overhyped marketing, and it's just unbelievable that you don't know what you're gonna experience with the actual film, because you might be going into something that you thought was completely different. This movie wasn't completely different from what it was hyped up to be, but I do feel like it wasn't it didn't meet my expectations to a certain extent, because I was like so hyped on it. Like the aesthetic, obviously everything promoted was the aesthetics of it. The fact that it was the 70s television series, which I will add that I loved actually, that I watched it at home, because it felt like you were part of the viewing of the actual late night, TV show that you were watching, this reality or, late night talk show. So I did like that aspect, but I didn't get that until I kind of woke up the next morning and like pieced it all together and like put my thoughts together about it. Cause it was the first time really that I've like, maybe not the first time, but first time in a long time that I put on a movie and then like it shut off, and like, I just kind of had to sit there and like let it sink in and be like, did I like this movie? Did I not like this movie? Was it overrated to what I was expecting? All this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want to get my rating on it because I know you guys do that at the end. But I will say for my first thought that it was overhyped when it was being marketed. I'll say that.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Awesome.
I mean, well, let's be honest, Taylor. Did you think that it was like over? Like me and you both were like, this is gonna be the shit. Like this is gonna be the movie of the year. That's what I thought. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is gonna be great.
I had full on intentions of,
We promoted the shit out of this on Check the Candy, by the way.
because I found this and I thought it was an actual real thing that happened, and that they were making a film about it, and I was so absolutely pumped about it. But this was way before anything come out. Like I sent it to Alt, and I was like, because he's like the wizard of finding shit, and I sent it to him and he was like, dude, there's nothing. It's like and then he messaged me back a little bit later. He was like, no, actually it's in film circuits right now. It's a film coming out, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my god. Like everything about this film, I was so incredibly excited for it. Like, and then I got it was about a month before it come out, maybe a little less, and I had told Alt that I'm gonna dull back my senses because of Skinamarink, and I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah,
because this movie, I feel that they had everything laid out in front of them. Every single thing that they needed, they had, except for the story. And the story at the end of it, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, actually, if you really look into it, like you can look at this movie, and I've read tons and tons of comments. Phenomenal movie. The best thing I've ever watched. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, what happened though? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Even if you try to put two of the things that I've come together with, it doesn't make sense. So like that's that was my whole thing about this movie, was that they had everything laid out in front of them that they needed to have. The practical effects, the filming, the crew.
Yeah,
Of
the
course,
aesthetics were crazy, dude.
yes, and I do think that Adam Lawson, which is scares and or no, sorry,
I blame
I
the movies.
I blame the
Scares
movies.
and tears. That was old school.
Yeah, him and I were talking, and him and I agreed that it was like they had 10,000 writers and they blended it all into one. That was what happened.
I'll
Like,
say it's almost like adding to that, it's almost like they didn't know how they were going to end the film. They had like 4 different ways that maybe they could have,
Mm.
and they kind of just chose one.
they had everything, and they went with nothing. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this film literally, when it ended, I was like, what the absolute fuck was that? Like, I was so pissed. Do we cuss on this? I didn't even
Yeah.
ask in the first one.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, we've been
We've been saying
we've
cunt.
been cuffing. We've been cussing,
Yeah.
Brett.
I didn't even ask on the first one. I'm sorry. But like, I was so fucking pissed off about that, man. Like, it literally, and then, so since it come out, I've spent days. I've watched it 4 times.
That's
I spent
wild for you
Just trying to
because
figure it
days.
out.
this is a slow burn too.
I spent days trying to put this motherfucker together, and there's no ending.
No.
Like, what happens doesn't make fucking sense, and that's what does it. And then, we have other friends who are like, it's ambiguous and it's you have to look deeper into it and into the cult at the beginning, and I'm like, I have. Like, it does, the way it lays out doesn't make sense to me. So if
Right.
anyone can shine some light to me, that would be great. That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, what'd you guys think?
It feels like a chat GBT like script, like the
Right.
ending of it, like
That's a good
everything,
one.
even like the graphics. It's like, why is their head splitting into 2 and turning into an
Exactly.
orb?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
Fucking sorry, this cat is driving me up.
Go do what
you
you
look
can.
like you're from the Wizard of Oz, man. You're killing me. I love it.
She's in a booth. She's got the cool green screen that what's her name
Yeah.
has that we had
That-
on.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking. It looks like the way she looks right now looks like it's in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
They keep attacking it, so it keeps moving behind me.
So what'd you guys think of the movie? Like, just in all, before we get too deep into the ending here.
I think you two have kind of summed it up quite well in that, like you say, they had everything. They could have done so many different things, and I think they were so focused on it's found footage that they wouldn't break away from the either, we're going to take a break, or the actual what was caught on camera, that it kind of dipped into like 10 different things going on and didn't fucking explain any of it and didn't tell you anything, and then just left it, and you were supposed to figure it out. Like, no, I need a bit more than all of that. Like, and as you say, what is with slow burns at the moment? Why are films
I agree.
so determined to have slow burns?
You would say
covered
this is a
the-
slow burner?
It's
I-
quite a quick film though.
I don't think
I'm not
it's
sure about that.
necessarily a slow burn, but I definitely think it is a slower, quick film, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So like my wife even mentioned it, and she's not any type of ADHD or anything like that. She was like, we're 30 something minutes into this and nothing's fucking happened. Like,
That's what I
The-
mean by slow burn. Maybe not.
yeah.
You
So
know,
like,
you have to
it-
look at things like The Exorcist and The Omen and these movies that were set in that time period already.
Mhm.
And they have they have an agenda of how the movie plays out.
story.
The story builds and builds, so you can have
Mhm.
this thick piece, and then everything kind of happens within that last 40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
my wife
So-
said it best the other night. She said, just you three, imagine being a guy, right? And you're going to bed and you're like, I'm gonna get off, okay? But
Woo!
you've been
Let's go,
drinking-
baby.
You've been drinking all day, and you just pull and
Cheers.
pull and pull and pull and pull, and then nothing fucking happens. She said, "This
Sounds
film,
like my
whiskey,
ex-boyfriend.
this film whiskey dicked me," is what she said. So
Wow.
that I have to tend to agree with her, but every single thing about this movie I absolutely fucking loved. I despise the fucking story. Like, give me something, but dude, like the fucking practical effects, except for the stupid worm coming out of his eye, I thought that was dumb as shit. Like, if they would have just kept going with the swelling, like that would have been cool.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
like, I get that they were trying to go for that older, but less with a movie like this, less is more.
Yeah.
And what they did at the end was not what they should have done. Period. To me, but.
No.
Go anybody else. Go ahead.
And do you think that the ending, as far as, because that's obviously what we're talking about here. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
What I had a hard time with is when it was like obviously when they go backstage, it's like black and white, like
Behind
they
the
cut to
scenes.
they cut to black and white,
Mm.
which is kind of a weird. I know people loved it, but it's kind of a weird. I know they were trying to differentiate when they were on camera and when they were off, but usually you would do that the other way around, right? Now I know the 70s is when color TV came into play and
Mm.
stuff like that. So I get why they would have color on when the cameras are on. But I don't know if I liked it as much when it went to black and white, because it made the ending a little bit more like, was the ending happening on live television?
Think so?
Yeah, I think that's
Was it-
what.
Like, I
You think
that
that's what was happening? Like it was like everybody was witnessing what he was going through, or was
Yeah,
it like
because that's when it cuts out to, oh, we're having technical difficulties
right,
or whatever
right.
it is.
But
Wasn't-
it's such
wasn't
a
this the film that they never released it though? Correct.
yeah. Well, it was
Mm.
live.
It was
though.
live.
Yeah.
So I thought,
So
yeah.
technically it wasn't
So-
released, but it was, people had watched it. Because they have this weird thing where obviously the demonic entity, whatever, goes into the circuits of the
Yeah.
The electricity,
the
yeah.
set, right? So we get that part, but what I didn't like about the ending was I couldn't tell when they did the color and then black and white. There was a significant, line between when they were off camera and when they were not. And then when it came to the ending, so many crazy things were happening that I didn't know if I was watching, I was supposed to be a viewer of the live show, or
Well, they broke
the
whatever.
Everything.
the fourth wall or whatever, it was like
So
the
it was everything. So they broke character, so to say, from
Yeah.
TV to his imagination. Whenever
right,
Lily
but it was still
looked
in
into it.
color. It was still in color,
Yeah.
right? But was it
some parts were.
being viewed? Like the people that, because obviously the whole movie we were supposed to be viewers of the live event.
Of life,
With
yeah.
Correct.
some extra footage. And that was
So
it.
when you have that whole ending in color,
Mm.
like
Because you're thinking, wait, are the cameramen staying on and
Yes,
filming
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Or why aren't
but-
they
but-
fucking off
but
as well?
nobody
why aren't
stayed
they
on.
fucking they're not seeing what he's seeing through the camera, right? Like that doesn't
No.
make any sense. If you break that fourth wall
Yeah.
of
You just seen
movies,
3 people get slaughtered on stage. You're not going to just stay
Right.
there and be like,
you're not just gonna
oh,
be
let
like,
me get this in
is-
focus.
let me get this. Like, yeah. So it's like it was this weird, like, and it was still in color. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, is that you made
It,
this
it didn't switch
you
back
made
to
this
behind the
significant
scene.
correct. You made this significant line in the
Mm.
sand of behind the scenes of what no one had seen yet. And so there was just this
Well,
weird
also
I-
they made this significant part of where play it back. The video doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Play it back.
And then it's in the
And then
video.
at the end of it, nothing's play. If you would have put
Yeah.
something at the end of the video playing back, but then again, I went back and looked. Whenever he comes to after killing Lily, wife, whatever,
Hmm.
everybody's demolished the way that Lily killed him.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so, like, nothing fucking happened. Like,
So
this-
let's get it straight. Like, obviously, like, I think if you just watched it for the first time and you looked at your friend next to you, you would say, okay, obviously he made a deal with
no,
this
he was
demon,
hypnotized.
right? Or
I
but
think he was. That was my first thought. Was he was hypnotized by the guy doing the thing, because he clearly
Right.
said, "Jack, Jack. Are you looking?" He made a point to like zoom in on the audience, and he made a point to say something to Jack.
Into my watch. Even you, Jack.
That was my whole thing. I was like, "Oh, he was fucking hypnotized the entire time.
whole
and wouldn't
time.
fucking killed everybody from that point on." But that's
Okay.
not what happened.
so for my perspective was like the whole thing was, oh, he obviously made this deal when he was with the cult to sacrifice his wife
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
For
be more
fame.
famous, right?
Yeah.
But when you keep thinking about it, now, I didn't watch it again, I only watched it once, but when you think about everything, you just from the I'm very particular about characters, because I like when characters are written well. If characters are written well, I care about them, and then I care what happens to them in the movie, right?
Yeah.
So in this one, like, obviously you just finished watching the movie, and in my eyes, I was like, oh, obviously he sacrificed his wife to become more famous. But did he do it willingly? That was my gripe, because I was like, throughout the entire movie, he loves his wife. And as
Yeah.
a character,
I was
to
confused
me-
about that bit.
to me, it didn't seem like he would ever do that knowingly. Now, did he make a deal with the devil to get more famous, and he didn't know what it was going to cost him? You know what I mean? And then it ended up being, hey, what you thought
Well,
it wasn't going
obviously
to
he didn't
cost,
know
it did.
He didn't know what was going to cost him, because in the flashbacks at the end, as well as the beginning, he signed the contract, and at the flashbacks, it was like, well, his greatest whatever. He said, what did you give for this or something? Somebody yelled it in the audience. He was
Yeah.
like, well, his greatest whatever is yet to come, you know? So like he
Right.
didn't
So he
know
didn't
what-
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great point, because to me, it was like, from the character standpoint, he would never knowingly sacrifice his wife because he loved his wife.
That was
Right.
complicated for me, because it was like, yeah, like he seemed to just completely dote on his wife from the beginning. But
Yeah.
then I kind of thought like, oh, is that like a huge character sort of
Well,
change? Were we supposed to be shocked?
Was it the
like,
was
did
it the
he?
fly that you didn't know he
Yeah,
had?
yeah, and
Right,
I
right.
kind of rate that as well. That storyline, like if it went
Yeah.
down that route, I wouldn't hate that.
Right.
This
But it
is-
wasn't
I don't know.
clear.
No,
But
it
it
wasn't clear.
It was
So
not
it was
clear.
like, yeah, it was a very, I don't know. I don't know. It just, to Taylor's point, I mean, now that I'm actually saying it out loud, it's like, I don't know what the
You don't know what
fuck.
happened.
I really
So-
don't know. And like, and is that on purpose?
Well,
Or
so-
did
no.
did
It was-
they have a direct thing?
I don't know. There is no purpose. And I've literally dug through this thing back and forth.
Okay, so
And-
hold on right there, Taylor. First of all, this is all I want to point out before you go on. Doesn't it suck? And I've had this conversation with many people before. If you have to Google the ending of a movie, doesn't that
Not a good
suck?
movie.
Like,
Not,
not a
not
good
a
movie.
great
Right?
ending.
even if it's really deep, and like people are like, oh, it was too deep for you. It's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Now you're just saying like you Googled it and now you're telling me. Like,
My wife said the same thing. She said if you have to Google a movie, it's a terrible movie. And the first thing I said when it ended, it was like, oh, I get it. And she was like, hold up. And she said something, and I was like, wait, you're right. And I was like, hold up, Google it. And
yeah,
that was it. And whenever we had to Google it, what it told us literally still doesn't even make any fun. They don't even know.
yeah, it's
Well,
like
Yeah, I was
three
gonna say,
different ways you
Wikipedia
can
makes
go.
no sense.
Yeah, that sucks, dude, because like
So,
now
here-
I
here-
won't say I won't go as far. I have a little bit different of opinion. I won't say that if you have to Google a movie, it's a terrible movie, but it might be a terrible ending. I agree that it's a terrible ending. Because I think there's brilliance in filmmaking if you can be straightforward and have it be good. You know what I mean? So like there's this weird artsy thing about filmmaking lately that like pisses
Yeah.
me off. Like
So
it has
what-
to be artsy and all this shit, and you have to not get it for it to be good. And like I hate that.
That's what I was gonna say. I think that A24 set the bar pretty much for
Right.
people. And now
And they're making
Shudder-
millions off it.
and now Shudder is thinking, hey, we can pick up these fucking films that literally don't make any
Which has
goddamn
never been
period.
Shudder's thing. It's never been
No.
Shudder's thing.
No.
I think I've bought into that massively though. Like I think when we covered Hereditary, like I was all for I'm all for not like fully getting an ending to a film.
Okay.
Like I do
That
agree with
ending,
you, John, that
fucking-
like I do quite like a kind of quote unquote straightforward horror film. Like I think if it clears everything up in the end, great. But I
Yeah, if it can come
I don't
full
mind.
circle.
Yeah, like I don't mind something that doesn't make complete sense. Like I think that kind
Yeah,
of
but that's
emphasizes
but
the horror of it.
sure. But if it's the point, If that's the direction, then that's okay.
Mhm.
But if you have something that is clear cut
Yeah.
and like it doesn't make sense because it's bad filmmaking. And now it sucks to say that because we're critics and like you have to be that way. So like I don't want to sit here and say someone's a bad filmmaker because I didn't get the movie, right? But Hereditary is a completely different story. Hereditary, I love Hereditary, by the way.
Me too.
Hereditary was it wasn't ambiguous, it was just a complex ending. It was still if you watch the movie intently, if you knew in the back of your mind, like this is going to be a complicated ending, so I have to make sure I pay attention. But with horror films, it's tough because there's someone set on fire and like people are floating and then they go to a weird treehouse and like you're like, okay, there's so many variables going on that maybe it's tough to understand the ending. That's different. So if you have to research some things about the movie to understand and have to go back and rewatch it, that's one thing. But like if you go to a movie where there's visible like errors, I would say. Now whether or not that's on purpose because they want it to be ambiguous is a different story. Now that sounds confusing, but what I'm saying is like they might have wanted you to think that there's 3 different endings to the movie. Now, whether or not those 3 endings or whatever is
Do they coincide in any way?
do they
But
coincide?
don't.
Do they correct?
They don't. They can't.
I don't know, man. It's a
They-
weird
all
one,
right.
bro.
So let me. I've been dying to fucking say this.
This is why you want to do this episode.
This movie.
Right here.
This movie literally set me on fucking fire because I was like, "What the fuck happened?" And I don't watch a movie more than once, hardly ever, unless it's Fast and the Furious and Titanic. That's all. But
Titanic is lit, dude. Titanic's lit.
Anyway,
Titanic's
But-
so good.
Haven't seen
so
it.
good. You're
what?
fucking kidding me?
Wait, you haven't seen Titanic?
No.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
Oh, Charlie is great, man. It's so
Alright.
good.
It's one of the best. It's the best drama of all time, possibly. Like it's unbelievable. It's
I'm
flawless.
serious.
It's
Charlie,
flawless.
there's no slasher.
It is
Please
the
watch it.
best. It is the best story of all time.
It literally is. And Leo's absolutely brilliant, just
Dude.
cute as can be.
It's all about love, bro.
Big up,
It's
Leo.
great. That shit'll make you cry,
That's
bro.
But anyway.
it's not my.
Anyway,
telling
Go
you,
on,
I'm
Taylor.
telling
Get
you.
your thought
But yeah.
out. Get your
It
thought out,
is.
Taylor.
Okay.
Now
okay.
he's thinking about Titanic and he's
I
fucking.
am. I'm about to go
Yeah.
off on this tangent now.
Yeah.
All right. So my biggest thought was, all right. So when the psychic guy, he's like somebody accept,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that bit.
I loved him because he was a performer. I do think, like that you have these people who do this and they're not true, but they come from a true place, but now the fame's kind of got them and now they're not
Right.
as blah blah blah.
Now they have to put on a show, right?
Now they
Yeah.
have to put on a show.
Yeah.
Whenever he gets hit with Minnie, right? And Minnie was the name he gave her, right? What was her name?
Yes, it was Minnie, but it was his Linda was the
No.
what was the wife?
Madeline.
Madeline.
Okay, see back to not knowing characters, but yeah, he called
Yes.
the host called her Minnie, right? That was his
and,
nickname.
and he went back. But all right, so afterwards, whenever it went to black and white, his nose starts bleeding on the right side. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Lily
We're getting
later on.
technical.
Yeah. Then Lily later on, but in between. Hold on. We're gonna pause this.
No one said anything, bro.
I know, I did. So we're gonna pause this for a second. After that, right there,
Yeah.
Then shit starts to kind of come about. You
Right.
you have the stuff on the table whenever Lily comes out, and she was in that cult. Now we go back to that cult, John. You had mentioned that this is a real cult, and it is.
It is, yes.
The Bohemian Grove is a
The
real fucking
Bohemian
cult.
Grove, yeah, it's a real
It's
thing.
a real fucking cult. It's really scary. I wouldn't even call it a cult. I'm sorry for fucking saying that shit.
It's like a
Um,
club. It's
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that anymore. And I think that's the reason why they went away from that as well. And
okay.
they went to the people in red, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Same people,
Mhm.
same people, all right? But my biggest thing was, why are they worshiping Abraxas?
Mhm.
He's like a fucking joke among demons kind of deal.
Right.
So why is that? So that was my whole one of my big things. but
Yeah,
now,
where's
like,
Beowulf
get-
at or something?
get somebody bigger, get a bigger demon.
G-
But,
Correct. So you're talking about literal biblical demons here.
Yes. But so all right, so they went away from the Grove in the beginning. After that
Yeah.
story, that was complete. They ended that shit, and they probably ended it the right fucking time because I wouldn't want to make a film about that either.
Right.
But they went on and they portrayed these other people also as the Grove, which had Lily, right? The people,
Right.
Yeah.
she survived
Yeah.
because if you notice, if you'll freeze frame it in a second, there's a big statue of an owl on
Owl,
his,
yep.
yeah. So like, there's a lot of shit right there, and he says, "Oh, believe there'll be a sacrifice." The whole thing is based around that right there. Lily come out, but then again, why did Lily come out? We don't even from right there
She's
on.
the only
we
one
don't
that
know why.
survives. Yeah.
We don't know why Lily survived. That they don't give you any fucking clue of anything right there. So you go further on. Then, whenever they bring out the doctor and Lily bring out, and they have here's some trinkets pretty much on the table. They have a glass mirror, a horn. Let me see. They have a glass mirror. They have a horn. They have a skull. They have a knife. They have a book. Yeah. All laying right there.
Just
Then-
note the dagger. Okay.
And the
the dagger. Yeah, sorry.
Devil's our way. Devil's our way. Yeah. Just keep
And
going.
then the that music, xylophone, whatever the fuck that music thing started going off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then all the glasses started shattering, right? Well, if you'll notice right there in the clip, real quick, it shows Minnie in the mirror on that table. It shows her. That was the first time you see her.
That's it.
Besides her, I think she tried to possess the guy to try to overtake his, because he's a meeting. He's more subset or what's that word?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Susceptible.
Open.
Yeah. Susceptible. Susceptible.
Susceptible.
Yeah, whatever.
Susceptible. Sorry.
two spirits. So she tried, and he was like, "Someone accept." And then dude was right. He was like, "I'm an unmarried man wearing a wedding ring," kind of deal, you know?
Yeah.
But he started bleeding. He fucking dies, right? But
Chucks up over the place first, though.
yeah, he
He
does.
does a lot of black shit. Yeah.
Which was a cool thing.
That was
like
cool.
that.
That was cool. Yeah.
Everything about
Oh,
this
the
was
aesthetics were great. To put it in like that
So
grainy aesthetic too is like so 70s. It looked great. I mean, it really
wasn't
did.
even
It was a good looking
grainy.
movie.
They did it without doing grainy almost.
Yeah,
It
but
was
like
so
they did it.
fucking
Yeah, no,
perfect.
you're totally right, Taylor. They did it, but the colors were perfect. It was
Yeah.
like, it was like faded a little bit, and like it was just that
Was
70s.
it filmed
feel.
on like a 35 mil?
I don't. Was it?
Ah.
No,
I don't
there's
know.
no way.
Let me have a
Was it
look.
all digital? I
No.
mean,
Yeah, it
that's a
has to
good
be
question,
digital.
though. I wonder.
It has to be digital. There's no
Well, just
fucking way.
because of the color
Yeah.
grading, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have
But-
filters on, like.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
But before the guy starts throwing up everywhere, he says as well, because he's like, it might be during the break or whatever, but he says to the guy, like, she's so full of sadness. And
Yeah.
it is, so again,
He
I
said
was
she.
like,
He emphasized on she. You know.
yeah, but we knew
she-
at that
she-
point Minnie, and he was like, she's,
No.
and like, he was trying to get like, oh, she's so full of sadness. We didn't know at this point it was the wife.
So
Well,
that was my whole thing.
Who
Was
needs
like
a sad
I
spirit?
thought it was the wife. The entire like when at the beginning when I first watched it, I was like, oh, it's Lily, doing this, and
Hmm.
it's she. But then that's where I'm so confused at is that by the time, because Lily, the doctor sits down with
Yeah.
her, and she says, many spirits can go through her, kind of deal, but I'm the key to just unlock this kind of deal. You know what?
Oh, the demon guy, yeah.
Yeah. So she says, "Look at me," and and then she goes into the spirit of Araxis, right?
Mm.
But why for one? Why? That's a thing. And then all of a sudden she turns to Jack, and her right nostril starts bleeding, and she says, "How could you let this happen to me?"
How could you let it happen, Jack? How could you let it happen?
From then on out, I think it was Minnie, who was possessing her. I think the demon of Abraxas was
Oh.
kind of like a joker, and was like, "Fuck you, I know you, but I'm gonna go ahead and let her.
Let
I'm
me
gonna go
know.
ahead and let her
Right,
do
right.
this."
See, I
and
prefer that idea. because again, when he said like, "Oh, the spirit's really sad," and then where we find out that he made a deal, I kind of, again, I don't know, because we're watching it, as you say, like an audience. So, oh, they've got this perfect marriage. Again, that's what we think about a lot of celebrity marriages, because that's how they're portrayed. So it could be that actually he knew what he was doing. He knew he was
Yeah.
giving away her soul, because actually he was shacking up with the doctor, which is also revealed. Because what is the Jack and June went up the hill to screw each other's brains out.
What?
Jack and June went up the hill to fuck each other's brains out. Jack and June went up the hill to fuck each other. That's enough.
Was it revealed though? Like I don't know if that was technically
I
revealed.
think it was
'cause I thought
implied.
that-
It was
I think
definitely
it was
implied they were
implied.
shagging.
I think it was
Um,
implied because they had that, but it was never like an actual thing. So like because I went back and forth on that too. But she was very pissed in general, you know.
But yeah,
Maybe
but I'd
it
be
was.
pissed if my partner was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to make a deal to kill you off because I've got another girl in the wings." I'd be fucking pissed. I'd come back and haunt his ass.
I think if it was that he was a dick and he chose to do that, I feel like that kind of
Especially if she's got
emphasizes-
cancer and
But
well,
then
like
again,
emphasizes the horror a bit more, that he isn't a very nice person. Like, I guess
Yeah.
that they could go down that route.
Yeah,
all the way around, you want to root for Jack,
you
but
do.
he's
Yeah.
not a good. He's not a good person. If
You
you
do
think
want to
about
root
it,
for
he's not a
Jack,
good.
yeah.
He's not a good person. But in the end, so like right before Minnie starts doing the whole like television thing, you know, like the lightning coming out of her.
Oh, Lily,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, or sorry, yeah, Minnie or Lily, whatever.
Lily.
There's too many fucking.
Too
Lily,
many
Minnie.
names.
But you
I'm
remember,
sorry,
right,
that was like the first time I've ever had to take a bathroom break.
but right before, whenever the fucking TV strikes her hand and then her other hand pulls up, you know. So right before that, there's a quick flash of Minnie, and she's bald, but she's all like electrocuted, you know.
Right.
Like it's a split frame second. You will never fucking notice it. But I rewound it, and I got it on camera, and I got the picture of it. It looks great. It's fucking everything about this is amazing. So like from when her nose started bleeding, I
Yeah.
do think that it. But then again, I was going back to the cult. If you look at the people in red, all right, not the Grove, but the people in red, they're given this backstory about how a child is born of sacrifice, kind of deal. You know.
Yes.
So, and that was Lily. That's what I thought. But then again, I was thinking maybe, possibly, that Minnie could have been in this cult. She, as a child or something like that, and got out. So, like, there was. Then I went down a rabbit hole, and I was like, I don't fucking know now. So, like, that was the whole situation.
Maybe she got Jack into it.
Maybe she did,
I
but
don't know.
the whole thing to me at the end of it was Jack reflecting was Minnie pretty much saying, you know, that because she even said it to her. I think she kind of, because the night before the doctor was like, she was saying your name like as she knew you or something like that, you know. And then Minnie also fucking Lily come on stage, and she was like, I think your show is going to be great, blah blah blah, or you're going to be very famous, you know, by the end of this or whatever, you know. God, I'm terrible at explaining things. But either way, I do think that the wife was the culprit behind everything from whenever she looks at Jack and says, "How could you let this happen to me?" From then on out. But then again, because she looks at he's going to leave, he looks right at her. She destroys fucking everybody in her path, you know, twists necks, slits throats, fucking does everything. But she looks right at him with this split fucking head, you know. And I'm thinking she showed him his purgatory, you know. She showed him everything that he went through to get to where he's at. And then again, how did he get to Lily if Lily was this badass fucking X-Men? How did he stab her, you know?
That's the bit I can't get, because again, like as you say, like when Lily's doing the fucking Saturday Night Fever and getting electrocuted and taken over. I thought because it was like a demon in the airwaves or whatever, that was how Jack was kind of going through the greatest hits of the show and like key points that we'd seen at the very beginning and kind of reliving those because it was a demon. It has the power to alter that. What I couldn't fucking understand though is why the demon would trick him into stabbing him.
Because he's
stabbing
already made
Lily.
a sacrifice. His sacrifice was his wife. Why would there be another sacrifice?
Yeah, but also if the demon is in Lily, why would he want to die? Why would he want Lily to die if Lily
That's
is...
what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes
that's
no
the whole
fucking
messed up
sense.
thing. So like he's already made a sacrifice with
Yeah.
the Grove that he is going to be famous and he's going to sacrifice something. He didn't know what it was. It
Yeah.
happened to be his wife. The only explanation is his wife taking over Lily and the demon being a jokester kind of deal. He let her.
Yeah.
But then again, why did the demon want to die?
Yeah,
Like-
I don't... This is
I
the
don't know.
problem. There's no answer. And as you say, you could do shit ton of research and talk about it 1,000 times. And I've got no idea. Like,
And that's where, to me,
stupid.
that's why I want to talk about this film, is because this film had everything in front of it. It had every single thing laid out that it needed to be,
it could have been fucking great.
but it was fucking awful because of the story.
I think they could have ditched everything to do with the cult. As in, like, we didn't need to know that he was part of this men's club. We
don't
could have
think-
just known that he made a deal with the devil. That would have been enough.
Well, I disagree. I do enjoy the fact that they put in the Grove, because I had heard about the Grove prior to this, and I was very
Yeah, I heard that on
interested-
shit on like Joe Rogan and shit. Like,
Yeah, I was very
hardcore
interested
shit.
in that.
I
But
like
it's
that
just
bit, to
the-
be fair.
but
It
it's
just
just-
builds, it tells you more about him.
But it
But
doesn't,
if
for me, it
if
doesn't
they
tell
would
me
have
enough.
left it, if they would have left it there at the beginning, done, period,
Yeah.
done.
So
Like,
the thing is, I want to know more. So like, just telling me he's part of a cult and then only seeing an owl head at the end, I was like, that's not enough. I want to know more about the fucking goal. Like,
but you know, also
But-
you got shit in there like a fucking skeleton,
yeah,
and I'm like, guy, you're like a very important part of this whole thing, but you do
Yeah.
nothing at all.
I was
Like,
well expecting more from him or them.
that pissed me off so fucking bad, because I'm just
Yeah,
like,
well, there were like rumors out there, you know, like the behind the scenes.
He
It was
was
like,
the
was that the devil himself watching over everything,
In
or
disguise.
was it
I love
a
that bit.
person from Bohemian Grove making sure the everything was carried out the way it
Well,
was supposed to be?
what was supposed to be carried out though? That was the thing. Like,
Correct.
if they-
I agree with
if
you
they
there.
were, like, I've already talked about that
Yeah.
too. Like, if they were to tell him, "Hey, your time now is running out. Now we need another
Yeah.
sacrifice,"
Yeah.
then I would understand something like
Well,
that.
it's
But
like a
they never
cheap.
fucking gave me
They
that.
played it like a cheap trick. It was like the whole sacrifice and everything that he was supposed to give up was a joke and wasn't supposed to be fulfilled until that night.
Yeah.
Like the whole punchline was him understanding that he gave up his wife, and it was supposed to be like a revenge against him. It's like this weird.
And
Which
watching
I- which-
everyone watching it live, watching his
everybody
downfall.
watching what he gave up, but it's this weird come to moment
Why?
of like, does evil like to be like, oh, it was evil and now you're gonna pay for it? I don't feel like that ever happens. Like,
I mean,
you know
if
what I
you talk
mean?
to a
Like,
Christian, they're gonna tell you, yeah, the devil is never gonna do what he says he's gonna.
yeah,
do.
but is the
So-
correct? But is the point of it all to be like, haha, we told, like, this is what it's gonna be, and you
Then it
didn't
would happen
believe
to
us, you know?
millions of other people who have been
Because
to
back
places
to
like
your
that,
point of like him sacrificing his wife should be the end all be all thing. Like, it shouldn't go more than that, as far as, you know what I mean? Like, unless
Well,
if his
you know-
demise is met in a specific manner. But
his manager guy, the one looks like
Yeah.
Hyde, you know,
yeah,
he,
Yeah.
he was talking about how we got to make these ratings. We have to make this
Mhm.
happen. So I thought maybe they had like almost like a curfew, you know, like a
Right.
deadline they had
has to
meet.
happen now.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they
So-
did because they said it was sweeps week or something, and that was
Yeah.
when like all the ratings were counted. So
The
it
sweeps
was
week.
like
Yeah.
now,
Sweeps
now,
week.
now.
Yeah. Well, it's also to beat who was he going against? Carson or
Carson,
Yeah. So.
yeah, Carson
someone like
Daly and
that.
shit.
How many ad breaks do you guys get on American TVs? Because they took a break
It's
like
a
every
lot.
5 minutes.
It's 15 minutes or so here. Yeah.
They would take
But-
it. I know like shit was happening, but every like 5-10 minutes they're like, "We're gonna take another break." I was like, I could not
Their-
handle this.
No, it
Their
happens
program
about that
starts
time.
on Dead on the Hour as well. That's why
Yeah.
if you're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like it's at a weird, like a point where you wouldn't have it in UK.
Yeah. Even on like sports talk radio, it's like you get like 12 minutes because 15 minutes is, you know,
Is
you
the
get
ad
four,
breaks.
you get like 4 segments of every hour or whatever.
Right.
But what I didn't like, here's the thing about the movie. What my gripe was very much more like on the surface of everything. Like I'm a huge exorcism guy. Like I love, like The Exorcist is my favorite movie. So
Hold
like,
on. Pause right there. Tell me Lily did not do a fantastic
oh, she was
fucking
great.
job
She was
right
great.
there when she was
Incredible.
laughing.
That's
Like,
dude, when she pulls and it's that frame of her with the smile,
dude.
Taylor, and you know me with The Exorcist, like one of the
Yeah.
scariest moments in horror movie history is not when Reagan's head twists around.
Yeah.
It's when she's on the bed and he's putting the cross to her face and she turns like this
Hmm.
and the vomit is
Yeah.
pouring out of her mouth and her eyes are just
That-
beady white.
And it's such a quick scene too.
Well,
And
Like-
it is so disturbing. And like I was talking with Dylan Weeks, who played Tapehead in the indie movies Tapehead, but like I was like, this scene when she rips and like her hair moves and her face is just like fucked up.
Mm.
I was like,
It's-
this is a moment of horror history right here. Like
Right-
it is
right
it's
so
there.
great, but there's controversy, isn't there? Because obviously around the whole AI situation, and
Correct.
that
Like,
bit was
you-
apparently AI. But like, I still
That
Really?
bit was AI.
apparently
That pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't like that at
Now
all.
I'm upset about it. That's
There's
no-
fucking
there's
no
bullshit
way
if
that
that's
But then
true.
I know that's
I-
bullshit, but I don't know if I guess
No.
it is still scary, but
It is,
does
but I
take
don't
away
like
a
that
bit.
because it's not creative.
I thought the whole the artwork was AI. The whole like
Oh, okay.
welcome back.
There was 3
Well-
frames, wasn't there, or something that in the movie that was.
I
used
read
as
somewhere
well.
it was that, like the girl, but then
If
maybe
that
that's
moment-
incorrect information.
Now, Katie,
Um,
I'm not saying you're wrong because
no. Yeah.
the thing with it is it was so quick and it was one of those things that was so well done
It was
that how do you
perfect.
pull that off? Yeah. How do you be so perfect with that scene? That's what got me
The
about it.
way-
I was like,
the
I
way
was
she
stunned.
like
My heart stopped. I was like, wow.
dude. The way she does that like laughter, like that
Yeah.
smile, like cute laughter that she does, you know?
And it's like one swoop. It's like she does
she-
this and it's like that one thing.
Fuck, dude. It's
And it's so perfect that I was
And-
like, this is
and-
up there with that scene from The Exorcist for me. Like
in the
it's that
frames-
perfect.
In the frames of where he's doing his flashbacks, there's a quick frame of Lily, and she's got all teeth, and
Yes.
it's so cool looking. Dude.
Oh.
It's like, oh, it's so fucking badass.
It is good. That is
Like
So-
everything about this film was so good, but
Yeah.
the story was goddamn awful.
I wanted more of the dialogue between her and him. Like
It was
that
just-
that sit down, that interview. That's what I thought the
We
whole
met
movie
against
was going to
the
be
tall
about.
trees.
It was
Dude, we
cool.
met
Yeah.
we met
Yeah.
against the tall trees. That
Like
was fucking sick.
I would have liked this movie
Yeah.
way more if it was just a talk show that decided to have this girl that wrote this book and it ended up being real. You know what I
It
mean?
was called Late Night with the Devil, and the devil was on
Yes.
there for like 30 seconds. And I was like, no.
That's I would have liked it. I would have
Hell.
been blown away if like the whole concept was them interviewing each other and there was this whole thing and I was back and forth. That would have been more of a thing to me. Like
Once Lily started floating, I really thought the demon, that was it. Demon's taken over. Lily's
Yeah.
not coming back, and it's just going to be, like you say, The Exorcist, where
What-
she no longer has control. She's just a vessel, and that's it. We're just going to have a talk show with the devil now. And I thought that was going to be it.
I would have been down with that. I would have been
Fine.
down with that.
Everyone could still die. Charlie's
I would have
laughing at me.
loved like something like a Piers Morgan life stories.
Oh.
Just talking.
Can we please petition for Piers Morgan
Dude.
to interview the devil? Piers Morgan is the biggest cunt in the UK.
Piers
and I do not
Morgan
say
is the
that as a fan.
fucking.
Yeah.
He's a fucking
Oh.
cunt. In a bad
But
way, not a friend way.
So the surface level of what this movie was is actually what I wanted. And like it
I-
didn't turn out that way.
I
you know?
feel like the filmmaking is great,
Yeah.
but it is a chat GBT written script.
Right.
The thing
And
is, I actually even like the I forget, like the cynic's name. I don't know if cynic's the right word. The one who's like, "Oh, I'll give you £500,000 if you can baffle me."
Yeah.
Oh,
If you
he's a
can-"
fucking cunt, and I love
He's
that
a cunt,
because
but I love him. Like he's
And you
so
wanted them to
because
be
good.
you wanted them to be proven wrong and like all this
Yes.
shit. Like that's what I wanted. Like
Yeah.
you keep it on the surface with that, like where
Yeah.
you're proving this guy wrong, you're proving the guy, the medium that died right. And
Yeah.
like all this shit is happening and it's real, and everybody's like, oh my god, it's fucking real. Like I
Mm.
could have just been okay with that. Now
Yeah.
you bring in the Bohemian Grove stuff, and like I really liked that aspect, but like it just didn't make sense to Taylor's point. Like at the end, it doesn't
It
tie
doesn't
in
wrap
well
up.
enough.
Yeah.
The
No,
end
it
ruined
doesn't.
it. As you said earlier, I don't think they knew how to end it. And I think they just threw everything at it. And they were like, let's see what sticks. And the problem is nothing's fucking stuck. No one knows what happened.
But so many people loved this movie. Are we just dumb?
What?
And
No.
No, I don't
You
think
know?
I think it's a marketing scheme 100%.
Oh, definitely.
I do think that this film was definitely done well, but every single person who worked on it, I think, had some kind of fucking say in the way the ending went, and that's where
Right.
what went wrong. Like,
Yeah.
it
Do
just.
you think here's my other question. Do you think the title, because the title got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you
Great
right now,
title.
it brought me in. Like, I was like, Late Night with the Devil is the best fucking title I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
in
Awesome.
Like it's the best since The Conjuring. Like the title. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm huge on title card sequences. Like the way a title is presented in the beginning of a movie is huge for me.
Mm.
And I haven't seen a better one since The Conjuring, when it just blasts on screen. It's that
Mm,
old
awesome.
school, blocky, bright yellow, The Conjuring with the crazy screaming music behind it. I'm like, that's since The Exorcist and The Omen and Rosemary's Baby, I haven't seen that. And then this movie had it, and I was like, man, this is perfect. The way it's laid out, everything's brilliant
Mm.
about it. It's old school, it's just blocky letters. The title's brilliant, but the title doesn't work with like this. Should it have been like Late Night with a Demon, with a
No.
demon, to make it
Yeah,
more
Yeah.
like
It's not
A
even like
demon, yeah.
really the fucking devil. It's like a really
no,
low
not
level
even
demon.
close. Yes,
But
like
It's a
you look
low
at
level
how-
one. It's got to
Low
reach
level-
a few levels
Yeah, like it's a
Well,
fucking
yeah.
to
only
reach
been,
Lucifer.
only been dead
Well-
for a year, hasn't even got their badges yet. Like, come on, intern.
Pathetic
So-
demon.
Intern
So-
demon.
Go on,
Not paid
Charlie.
yet,
I
paid
don't-
I,
copies.
I think the title works because you think of like late night chat shows, and they do have name like it's like for late show you've got
Yeah.
like it is that sort
The
of.
title's great.
I think the
Yeah,
title
but
works
it's
for
wrong.
it, whether it's got the devil in
oh,
for
it's
30
a
seconds or not.
great title.
Yeah, I
but does
agree.
does it work with the movie?
Yeah, because
think
it is
so.
a talk show, and it has a talk show.
So
vibe.
you're saying it's good because it's kind of like drawing you in as an audience to watch it because of
Yeah,
the way it's worded.
because you're setting up as if you're going to watch a talk show.
Okay.
Do you guys know? And this was sent from me or to me from a friend in the UK. It's called it's a show, I'm assuming, or maybe a late night talk show or something like that. It's 1992. It's called Ghost Watch. You ever heard of that?
I've not seen it. I'd love to see it. People have been comparing this to Ghostwatch quite a lot.
So
but
apparently I think the guys who wrote this based this off of that,
Right.
which was a fake thing,
Mm.
like an air thing, kind of like this right here. And,
I'll send it to you guys.
From what I know, 2 people committed suicide over it, so they banned it.
Wow.
So it was kind of like one of those like can't watch
Yeah.
it anymore. 1992. BBC. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's in
The old
Britain.
BBC.
Still going.
Yeah.
Fuck BBC.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
BBC
nightmare, but yeah.
mockumentary.
Wow.
But either way, I think Late Night with the Devil was based off of this right here. But I agree with you. I think it is a chat GPT. That makes more sense than a ton of people writing it. Like
Mhm.
Well, that's what Chat GPT is, an AI. It's like it feels like they,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
just pull everything from the internet and just make this like fucking
I do
Like
feel
you
like that
give it
makes
your
more sense now.
ideas, and then
Yeah.
it'll come up
it's
with
a
something.
it's a conglomerate of everything on the
Yeah.
internet put into one thing based on what you said. And I hope that's not the fucking case. And I hope what Katie said isn't the case where that was AI. I'll fucking be so mad.
just-
because
I hope not to.
I might-
if
yeah.
anything, I will
Katie,
buy
I
this
did-
movie on physical because of that one scene. Like it's
That
brilliant.
Same
Yeah.
here, I will buy it because of
Yeah.
everything they had to do. Oh, I
With
hate
her
the
was
story.
unbelievable. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've just clocked, and I'm so fucking dumb, that his show was called Night Owl, and he was literally worshipping the fucking owl.
Yes, which is a real thing in America, by the way.
That's
It's called the Bohemian Grove, and it's
I
they
believe it.
worship this big statue
Yeah.
of an owl,
mean,
and it's
there-
a real
there's-
thing. It's
there's a
really
It's given
famous-
it's
hereditary
on
vibes again.
American it's on American soil. It's a real thing.
It's
Why
in,
not an eagle if it's American?
I don't know. It's I don't know. But there's a famous picture of Richard Nixon and
Yeah, all our president. It's very
Yeah, I just seen that.
Illuminati or Freemason. It's very Freemason
So,
or Illuminati
there-
style.
There is a
There's
god
a-
who's
there's-
got an owl head, but I can't think who it is.
there's a thing that's my like conspiracy with this film is that like that's probably why they didn't go on any further, tell it anymore. Like I applaud them for doing what they did with that right there
Mm.
because that is a scary. No one fucking knows what the fuck happened. You can't go there unless you're
Yeah.
elite. Like
Yeah.
So,
People
You
sneak
cannot-
in. That's the only way. They sneak in and they get footage, and that's the only reason we have footage
Yeah,
of
you
what it
can't-
is.
So like I applaud them for doing what they did, and I totally agree with them for dipping out when they did. Like
Yeah.
they
But is
told
it-
the backstory, and that was it.
So
Which
is
I
it
also
not
think is
better
very
then?
controversial.
is it
Yeah.
not better then that we only have the backstory? Because realistic as the audience, like we know, like higher level celebrities and people in power are part of these cults and clubs and
Yeah.
stuff. We're never going to know any more than that. So is that not better? More realistic? If we're supposed to be the audience, that is all we know.
Yeah,
I guess it'd be like
Yeah.
Scientology, isn't it? In
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sense.
my parents live down in Clearwater, man. That whole fucking place is bought out by Scientology. There's not a fucking soul.
We've got
around
the,
there.
we've got the one of the headquarters very close to us in East Grinstead. We've got Tom Cruise there quite a lot.
Yeah,
Mm.
Tom's down there. He's like right down the road from my
Oh.
parents. Like he's got a
Fucking
place that he lives.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's wild because every single and honestly, I picture something like the Grove being like this, but like the Grove is different because it's a meeting spot. You know.
Yeah.
But
And here's the thing about the
Scientology
Grove is
fucking-
like people have like Scientology is people have they admit that they're part of it and they say that it's not like a weird thing. People make it out. It's like the Freemasons in America. Like people
Which
are
is
part of the
super weird, too.
Freemasons. It's a weird thing, but it's like you have to look at the surface of it. These people donate to their hometowns. They donate to charities. They're part of parades. They
I
do
know
all this
people-
good stuff.
I know
Mm.
people
Like-
right now that are in the Freemasons.
Oh yeah,
that-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that you
My
literally
grandfather was
can't-
a Freemason.
Yeah, you literally
Yeah.
cannot get in there. Like you,
No. I
unless
have
you-
so my town has a Freemason lodge. It's called the Odd Fellows Block, which is the best name of all time. It's the best name of all time. And so they were a part of the Freemasons called the Odd Fellows, which is I want that. I want to tattoo that on my fucking face, dude.
I
Odd
don't think
Fellows
so.
is
I don't think so.
it's so sick, dude. My grandfather was a part of the Masons. Like it's like this whole thing, but like on the outside, it's this community thing. But here's the thing: is the whole mystery of it is once you move up, how much more do you learn? It's like being president. It's
Mm.
like the more you move up in the government, how much more do you learn that you have to keep secret now that you're a part of it? So I want to ask you guys this. Do you find this more with if there was more of the Bohemian Grove in this, like, does this feel like more of an exploitation thing with that kind of stuff? Like it's exposing it a little bit but you don't show as much because you're almost like afraid to do so.
I was going to say I've never even heard of it. I'm just on the Wikipedia for it now.
Yeah, but like,
I-
as filmmakers, are you afraid to be like, I don't want to dive too much into this, but I want to base my story around it? Because that's kind of how this film felt to me.
Yeah, that was what it felt to me.
They
Yeah, I-
didn't go full into it, but
That's
like,
why that's why I've said the whole time. I'm like, I applaud them for getting out when they did. They didn't
yeah,
say,
Dipping the
they didn't
tipping.
say, yeah, they didn't say too much.
I think it's the thing. If you're gonna go for if you're gonna base it on something real, but you've only got limited information, I think it's better to dip than to speculate.
yeah,
If I was gonna do a film about a cult, I wouldn't base it on a real one unless you had a lot of information. Like
Mm.
I'd make one up. It's like again, I literally was just giggling to myself because I had in my head. Have you guys got Hot Fuzz? Have you seen Hot Fuzz?
of course.
Oh yeah,
Hot Fuzz is
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
Yeah. again,
Oh my
The greater
God.
good.
the greater good. But like
Yes,
for me, I was
yes.
like, that is, do you know what I mean? They sort of made that kind of cult, but it wasn't based
Right.
on anything. It was just
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
the
yeah.
piss. So I
But
didn't
when you
miss
do
that,
these
but I
real
think
things,
same
you have
here.
to do your research on them because if you
Mhm.
don't get it right, you piss people
Mm.
off or you're
Yeah.
You piss off the
speculating
wrong
on
people.
things. Correct.
I said
Like you
they've gone
can't.
after
No
big
one's just
people.
made a movie about the Freemasons because like you can't just do that because
No.
people are gonna come after you.
Yeah,
Because
you
like they
gotta
could
get,
you
yeah.
could legitimately be sued because like
Yeah.
the
Mm.
Freemasons it's not that it's speculation, it is a thing.
It's a
The
thing.
Freemasons are a
Is that
thing
protected?
and people are part of it and
Yeah.
you're fucking with the wrong people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have
I would
they have a say in
100%.
what goes on.
I
Yeah.
would love to make a movie. Love to make a movie about this stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
too afraid.
But again, I think
Absolutely.
you could do a cult. I don't think you could do it after a specific one because you wouldn't have all the information.
Yeah.
It's
That's
such a
And to Taylor's point, like that's what he's saying. Like you dip after a certain point because, like, yeah, this sounds cool, and like it's already made up for you. It's kind of like GPT, where you could be like, yeah, it's some
Yeah.
of the information's already there, but then you got to dip out at a certain point because, like, you
But
don't want to piss the wrong
that's why
people off.
that's why they changed their colors. They went
Yeah.
to red, and
Yeah.
they made him on almost like Anton Levy from the Satanic Bible. Like they made him that type of person, you know.
Yeah.
And so they switched him to that because that to me was a brilliant scheme because like honestly that's what I would have done. I would have been like,
Right.
I have to do this.
Yeah.
It's
it
like, I
has to
can't
make
go
it
into this
fun.
more. I can't tap
Yeah.
into this more.
But then
Have you guys
I
ever
have to
seen The
switch over.
Conspiracy?
Oh my god!
You ever
I gotta
seen the
piss.
Oh,
you
actually.
ever seen The Conspiracy?
No, I thought I had.
No.
but I
Oh,
don't know.
you guys should totally
No.
watch that, man. Crazy.
I've got such a
It's-
list now. It's gonna be like my next week is sorted.
Dude, watch The Conspiracy, man. It is fucking wild, dude. It's basically about like Freemasons and like cults and like American
Nice.
cults and political cults. It's
Yeah, you guys can tell me
intense. It's
about
all found footage, but it's like it's fucking crazy, man. It's worth looking into.
it. I actually
It's
used to work
a
with
movie that
someone.
no one talks about. No one talks about it, but
Right.
it's fucking crazy.
They can't. This is conspiracy.
Yeah.
I actually used to work with someone who we were pretty sure was in a cult because they like came in as like a manager, and then when we sort of were asking about their background, we're like, "Oh, where have you worked before?" And they're like, "Oh, I haven't worked for a few years," and it turned out they'd been like literally in South, or they just say like in South America. They wouldn't really be specific. I don't know if they could. And then the more we kind of like, the more questions we asked, like the less information they could give, and we were like, how are you a manager if you haven't worked for like 4 or 5 years? Like, what the fuck have you been doing?
Right.
And then someone found an article that was written, I think it was by her brother-in-law or like ex-brother-in-law, and he did like this whole expose about like this cult and everything, and how he knew like someone in it, and he's like, I think he said like sister-in-law or something. We were like, oh fuck, and it was like pure fluke that we managed to find with this information. I'm
Right.
like, fuck, I generally think she's been like off the grid for like 4 or 5 years and has somehow managed to walk out of this cult and just walk
Yeah.
away. Like,
It's like
it
who
was,
do they know? Who do they
yeah,
know?
it was
Yeah,
weird. And
that's
we were like,
interesting.
what? But like, yeah, it was just so funny asking them stuff because they couldn't tell you anything. We were like,
Yeah, I
what
wish
do
I
you mean
could
you don't
find.
know where you were?
I mean, I have 1,000 movies, so I'm trying to find it, and I'm trying to look for it right here. I want to show you guys the case because it's so interesting. You guys would love this movie, but it's very like obviously it's American, you know, very political American. But
Mm.
I think if you liked the idea of the Bohemian Grove thing, like
Yeah.
this is basically diving into that whole first 15 minutes of that movie. Oh, I see it. I see it. Hold on.
Because that's the thing, the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes are very different films. And yet somehow connected, but because that was in the first 15 minutes really set this film up, and then the last 15 minutes they didn't know where it was going.
Talk about late night, right?
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
what is happening?
100%. I'm sorry. I had talked to you guys about this, and I'm just like, honestly, because I wanted to talk about it because
Yeah.
I had talked to a couple of friends of mine.
Dude,
That's pretty
watch
cool.
this fucking movie.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
this
Awesome.
is basically based on the first 15 minutes of Late Night with the Devil.
That's pretty cool.
This
Yeah.
movie is
Good cover.
unfucking believable.
Okay. On it.
Dude,
I feel like we've got so much homework now, but I'm okay with
if you can't see the writing, it says "We are all slaves" right here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
This movie is fucking incredible, dude.
Yeah. It's a
So
good one.
good,
I completely forgot about that movie. That's a great movie.
dude. It's unbelievable.
So
Okay. Oh God, Charlie, I think you
Oh.
have the same thought as I
Go on,
do.
Charlie.
I was
You
gonna
go ahead, you go
say,
ahead.
obviously we've got a bit of homework, but would we survive?
Oh,
Late
That's a
night
hard
with Evan?
one.
I don't think it. Well, that's the other weird thing about it, right? Like, do all the audience survive?
I
Like,
was
do we
gonna say,
know?
are we?
Well, a lot of them
If-
escape.
Okay,
in
so we
this-
see them
I
like
mean-
running, and I mean,
So are
I
we
think
saying this as we're the audience? Are we surviving or are we a guest?
yeah, this is a weird one to kind of put into
Anything.
perspective, because I don't know. Because it goes back to the ending of like, was it live? Was it on television that you were watching? You were
Say we're in the
hypnotized as an
studio.
audience.
Actually, I do
Okay.
want to
Tell you can be working on makeup.
Thank you. I do want to quickly add to that, actually, John, because when you said earlier about how they obviously went from like the color and then to the black and white, but the screen was also square when it was on, and then like it went full screen.
It went to wide angle, yeah.
But again,
16:9.
So again, for me, that was a bit like almost patronizing to the audience. I'm like, because again, when we're like, oh, are we just dumb? Are we not understanding the film? I'm like, well, no, but they did try and dumb it down by literally being like, look, two different things happening.
Yeah, it was on purpose for sure.
Yeah, so it's a bit harsh.
Quite a
to the
few
audience,
movies.
like-
Quite a few movies do that though.
But like, we can figure out that he's he's off camera. Like he said,
Yeah.
we're going to a break.
I
Yeah.
I know, but I do feel like it's sort of going from watching it as if you're watching it to okay, we're off screen now. I think that's when I would have preferred it if they'd cut to more like less filtered,
Yeah.
and it was still color, but sort of
Like
like
more
HD, how you
almost
see
like
it.
if they went to like more cinematic.
Mm.
Yeah, like
You know what I
4K
mean?
or something.
Yeah, or even just like even when they did the black and white, I almost wish there was only just like it was better angles and looked more cinematic, and the camera angles switched a little bit more
Yeah.
instead of doing the black and white thing, because the black and white thing is kind of weird for the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I would understand it if it was like the 50s where you could have done the whole movie in black and white, and then when it was off camera, you could have gone to
Golden
color.
color.
And
Yeah.
you would have known, but the 70s is this weird in between stage where like
Yeah.
colors was coming into play for national television, but black and white doesn't make sense to do it off camera.
To be fair, I think because it was meant to be like
Yeah.
someone with like a handheld camera, so maybe it was like your
Oh,
average
I
handheld
don't-
wouldn't have been color at that point.
I was gonna say, I
know.
don't think they had handheld cameras back then, did they?
Well, he had some whatever he was running around with, but it wouldn't have been. As
Yeah,
good
but it wasn't
as
even
the-
like, but that was confusing
He's
too.
got a fucking
because-
GoPro strapped to his chest.
Because it's
No,
also
right?
like,
an iPhone.
POV.
but that's the thing is the whole movie is putting you in the viewer aspect of like,
Yeah.
that's why I thought it was cool to watch it at home and not in the theater, because you're supposed to watch it on a television, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this movie. But at the same time, when they cut to when it's black and white, it's taking you out of the viewer
Mm.
perspective. And it wasn't even like it was supposed to be a handheld and like behind the scenes, quote unquote.
Yeah. No,
It was
true.
just there was nothing recorded in that sense.
Mm.
Right. Well,
But even though they kind of say it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't.
Where,
let's
where
just
does that
imagine
come
we're
into
in the
play?
studio then. Are we surviving? We're somewhere in the
Well,
studio whether we're
Yeah, I'm
working
just
or
running
sitting
out
and
of the
watching.
back. As long as
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
just
sitting
run.
as long as I'm not sitting next to that fucking dude with the mask,
yeah.
like I'm good. I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, what
fuck
is
it.
Yeah, I'm with John.
fucking
out.
skull guy? Like
The
just
second he
chilling.
gets on stage, I'm like, he's not saying anything. I'm like, fuck that guy. I'm
I
avoiding
really
that guy
thought
at all
he had a
costs.
bigger role. I thought he had a bigger job.
Right, so Katie.
I think I think so. I'm with John. I think like if I avoid all the red flags around the room, then I think I can nope it out of there pretty quickly.
Okay.
Not a good enough for movie for me to die in. So
Okay. Taylor.
Yeah, no, I'm with everyone. Like I'm out at the
Yeah, you're just
beginning.
bouncing.
Like whenever the fucking psychic guy did his shit, I'm gone.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
like
fucking outta
listen,
there.
Yeah,
listen,
fuck that.
listen. I'm sitting in
Yeah.
the I'm sitting in the audience, and Katie's here and Taylor's here, and I'm going, yo, you guys want to fucking dip? Because this is getting a little weird. And then we just walk out like we're going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Sal.
Yeah,
Hey,
especially
did
if I'm,
you-
especially if I'm
fuck.
doing makeup because I'm going to be backstage. I don't have to worry about getting
Yeah.
trampled.
Right? Yeah, true.
What about you, Charlie?
I'll be doing hair, won't I? So
There you go. You and I have been talking for like we're gonna leave work early. 'cause we've
I'm
already
just
taken time.
yeah. I'm taking my 5 minutes break. I don't
Yeah,
really
if-
need it after.
If you
so.
guys are behind the scenes and that guy gets taken off in an ambulance and everybody's like, he died, I'd be like,
We're
yeah, I'm
out,
fucking
we're out.
Yeah, see ya.
Oh, fuck
Do,
that.
do your
Yeah,
own
you-
hair. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I don't
look-
need to
I
get
live out
paid.
to tell.
The camera is shit.
Correct.
You look fine. You look good enough. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
out.
fine.
I mean,
It's
I
like
couldn't
it's the
even go,
70s. Let's
wasn't
be
it?
honest here. It's a look shit anyway. You're good.
I mean, if it's the 70s, I'm not even born yet. I'm just a
that's
twinkle in my
true.
daddy's eye.
What am I, fucking
Wow, a
dork?
twinkle in her daddy's eye. That's wild,
That's
dog.
funny.
That is funny.
All right.
Okay.
That was a
I'm
good
still now I'm
discussion.
confused
Gotta tell.
though.
Now that's what this film fucking done. It's had me baffled for a week.
But now I'm like worried.
I
Now
feel
I'm
like
now
better.
I'm now the
The scoring is gonna happen.
now I'm worried about the angle, the camera like itself, like where you because it said at the beginning, like this is didn't it say like this is used live footage and behind the scenes footage?
Yeah.
Did it say that?
Yeah.
But when it was black and white, it didn't feel like behind the scenes footage. It just felt like you were
No.
watching.
was-
You were the fourth wall. Like it
Yeah.
felt like you were
Mm.
watching. It
There
didn't feel
was-
like it was behind the scenes footage.
There was a couple of points where they did look at the camera, so it
Mm.
was like,
Okay.
Yeah, just start
Yeah,
checking
it
over.
But it was
wasn't
so.
like they were
I guess I
aware.
would have liked it if it was a little more shaky,
A
maybe.
little bit shaky.
Like
Yeah.
it was so cinematic that it just felt like we were watching
Like,
it.
just ditch the gimbal. Like, just.
Right, correct.
yeah, no, there
That-
were definitely points where you were like, okay, they're almost
Now
aware
I'm
they're being
pissed.
followed by a camera, but
Now I'm pissed. Now
You
I
just
don't
have to
know if I
watch it
like the
again,
movie at
John.
all.
well,
Taylor
go on
told me
then.
not to, so I didn't.
So
Well-
not only we're ditching the black and white, and we're ditching the gimbal,
Yeah, and we did
Reshooting.
the last 15 minutes.
and
Well, like you
ditch-
kind of have to do. I like the idea of the black and white is fine because it's drawing a line of when it's on air and when it's not. But I don't
but it
like the
should have been
fact that it didn't.
switched.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was. Yeah, I agree. I think it should have been switched because I think in the 70s at that point, maybe a lot of America or the world or whoever's watching didn't have colored TVs yet.
True.
Yeah,
I think it could have been switched. So, but maybe it doesn't look as cool and people hate it for that reason. So I get
Yeah.
it. But
Well, what are you giving it spookies out of 5? And what's your favorite spooky moment? John,
who
I
are we
don't know what
talking,
you
who are we
asked.
talking to? Me?
I was talking to you and then
Oh.
realized that we're not in the
Oh,
same room.
oh,
and you don't know
all
that.
eyes on-
you're just looking at a screen, but no one knows where
All
we're.
right,
it's
all
on
right.
me.
It's on me. It's on
on
Tupac.
you.
All eyes on me. All right. I'll give it a 3. I liked everything about the movie besides that it went away from the demon aspect and went to
Mm.
this weird like I don't know. I'm
Nobody
still
knows.
up in the air about this movie to be honest. It's hard to get a I feel like I do have to watch it again, but
Hmm.
I'll give it a 3 for now because the aesthetics were great. The movie looked fucking awesome. I love when a movie does the 5x5 or whatever, like on a wide screen. Like it's cool. Like if you watch that movie on a regular like box TV, like it'd be so cool to see that. Yeah, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. And my spooky moment would be, can I have 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is obviously when she rips and the face. If it's AI, like Katie said, I'm out. I'm not cool with that.
I might have got that wrong.
But if you didn't, I'm pissed about it. I'm out it.
Okay.
But if it's real and it was prosthetics and it was done, even if it was CGI, it was done correctly, then that is one of the best horror moments we've seen in the past 10, 15 years, probably. But my next, other than that, would be I got really uncomfortable every time Lily looked at the cameras
Yeah.
when she wasn't supposed to be looking.
Mm.
There's this one shot where it's focusing on him, the host, and she's back too, and then she turns and
Mm.
looks at the
Yes.
camera, and that
That's-
felt really uneasy.
That's also in the flashbacks. It shows him interviewing himself pretty much, but he's looking at the camera.
He's
So-
looking at the camera. So
Yeah.
to break that wall, it was for her to look because she looks at the cameras a lot. Like she looks at the one in front of her, the other one in front of her. She's like, "What am I supposed to be?" You know, that's just someone who doesn't know that they're on television really or what to do. That's fine. But when she completely turns around, that got me. That got me. I was like, "Oh, okay, that feels like she's looking at me. I don't like that."
While still smiling.
So that was cool. That was cool. I like that. So that would be my other moment right there.
Okay, Charlie, what about you?
I am going to give it a 3 out of 5. Aesthetically, I've like aesthetics, it is great. It's just that fucking ending. And to be fair, like the very intro as well, like I was a bit like, whether that's because I was watching it straight out of Hatchet, which I wasn't really enjoying. I don't know.
Yeah, you did a double feature.
Yeah, I went back to back.
Wait, did you feel like the start of that was like too long?
Of this one?
Yeah, of Devil of Late
Yeah,
Night with the Devil.
yeah, of
I did it again,
Late
Taylor.
Night with the Devil. Yeah. It felt like it just wasn't really interesting me.
It was
for-
long too. It was long as
Yeah.
fuck. They
But
covered
then
for
when
10
it started
minutes, I was
kicking
like,
off, it was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I like this, and I was starting to really enjoy it. I was like, shit, this is much better than the other one. And then yeah, as soon as her fucking head split in two and this fucking orb came out, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. But then I did like the fact that it came back at the end and he's stabbing Millie, but it's not Millie, it's Lily.
That's a
And
solid score.
then my favorite spooky moment,
Nice.
it would
Out of the
probably be yeah, when she gets fucking possessed and looks
Like
up.
it's supposed to be. Like the whole movie
Yeah.
we thought was gonna be that way. Yeah. That
Yeah,
cool.
but I did also like when the Spanish geezer, he fucking chucks up the black shit.
Black gunk.
Right
Yeah.
at the camera.
That was nice. And it was a lot too. He spewed, huh?
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
I don't know if that looks a bit, it did look a bit cheap, but
It looked faked. Yeah, it looked fake.
yeah, too much
Which it
CGI
was,
there.
for sure.
Yeah.
It was AI.
CGI.
Fucking AI.
Katie just fucked this movie up for me, dude, completely.
All of us, our scores going
It's an,
way
it's an
down.
A it's an AI movie.
Yeah,
First one we've seen so far, AI movie.
depressing.
I'll be so mad if that's the case.
Taylor, what about you?
Oh, I'm excited for this one. I feel like this was his episode, you know?
Well, yeah, and honestly, I don't ever do this. Like I fucking hated that movie, but I loved it so much. So,
He's like 5 out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 2.
Nice. Yeah.
Probably a 1.5 actually, just
Mm.
because
Oh.
it had me hooked on every aspect, everything. It had me hooked on every fucking thing there was.
I told you that too,
aesthetically,
didn't I? I told
Yeah.
you that.
It had me hooked on the aesthetic part of it, the fucking Bohemian Grove, the 70s style, the late night stuff I was not too familiar with, but I knew about it. Like we have like Jimmy Fallon and people like that right there. So like I knew the concept of it, when it ended, I was so fucking pissed. So I give it a 1.5, possibly a 2, just simply because of the story, but everything else was a 5 to me.
Katie,
So,
what about you?
Wait, can I say something first? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Taylor, I that's so funny because I feel like you know if a movie is aesthetically pleasing, I go to you. I feel like that's your thing. Like
Yeah.
even if you're saying like you don't know too much about that 70s style, but like I feel like if your brain is like this looks cool, then it is cool. Like that's your thing.
Yeah.
So I so wish just for your sake that the story was better because I feel like this would have been top 10 movies for you.
All time.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like
what-
it would have been like you would have been raving about like 5 years from now when Check the Candy's making millions of dollars and we're on all these shows and shit and like doing great and like we take the Horror Friendly podcast with us on the road and we're doing all this cool stuff and we're just killing it and we're making millions of dollars and we're crushing it. You would have been like Late Night with the Devil's the shit. You still would have been that guy. But like it wasn't it. I'm so mad that it wasn't it. Like it wasn't what we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. What like
For both
100%.
of us too. Like I
Yeah.
feel like this is a movie where like usually I would have gone one way, you would have gone the other, and like, but we're kind of both on the same page a little bit. Like I think I rated a little bit more because of the exorcism and the demon aspect, but like other than that, we're basically the same on this.
Yeah, I think this movie had everything they needed. everything they needed, and they
Yet it
fucked it up.
sucked.
They fucked it up. Like
Yeah.
I agree with you, dude. It's like fucking a chat. What is it? What'd you call it?
ChatGPT.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Yeah, GPT.
That
Chat
that is-
GPT.
Chat GPT.
Hey,
Anyway,
look,
script.
I sent you guys who has access to the horror podcast or the horror friendly podcast.
The
of
Instagram
us.
or the email?
All of us.
All of us.
Instagram.
Either way.
It's Instagram.
All of us.
Okay, check. Can you look at it real quick? What I sent you?
It's
Yeah.
kind of like if you were about to watch the nuclear bomb, like in Oppenheimer, they fake you're about to
Dude.
watch the test of the atomic bomb, and then it's like and then it's just
It's
like
an
a
eye.
plop. Like,
So
ding.
zoom in on that.
Nope.
That's right before Lily does the whole like TV thing and the electrocute shit. That was my spooky moment.
It kind of looks like a goat.
No, it's her eye. Look, she's like that.
Yeah, like check her out. Like
Wow,
she
you
is,
didn't send it to me. I feel left out. Wow.
Oh, hold on.
I'm just gonna go ahead and go. See you guys later.
Fuck off, John. Hold on, I'll send it to you right now.
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
It's all good.
I was sitting here thinking of my spooky moment, and that clip that I just stumbled across, I was like, holy shit. I absolutely love that clip. And it was like a split second. There you go, John. But
Oh, Louis
that was
Santa hit me up.
that was my spooky moment right there. Was just her, that flash of electrocution between the dead. That was Minnie or whatever.
Yeah.
Huh.
Nice.
For a second, I thought you just sent me your Devil and Angel clip. That one was so good.
Okay, Katie, over to you.
Katie, let's hear it.
Um,
She's like 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna give this 4 spookies.
Oh.
Really?
I'm giving it 4, guys.
I feel like we didn't hear enough from you then.
No, I
To give it a 4?
Yeah, I think I loved
Wow.
it. I think the idea behind it was
Whoa.
great. I think visually it was beautiful. I like the whole advertising around it. I thought the trailer was great. I don't think it gave away a
Yeah,
lot.
the marketing was great.
The posters I think were beautiful.
That title
I don't know about
sequence,
the title sequence was great.
so
I think
good.
I think the main one on Letterboxd is, well, sorry, not the main one, but the one that is on Letterboxd at the moment where his the head disappears and he's on fire. I think
On
that's an
fire,
absolutely
yeah, that's so
beautiful
crushes, dude.
poster.
Crushes.
I do hear you guys with the ending. I do get it. But for me, it doesn't take away anything in terms of like throughout the film. I thought everything else was kind of executed so well that it doesn't really take away much for me. I thought the acting was great, and to be honest, I'd like to give it a second watch. I'd like to watch it again, knowing what I know now. I think I get a lot more from it. But yeah, I have a lot of time for it, so I'm giving it a 4. And I think the spooky moment for me, will probably be the same as John's when she's looking at the audience and like looking at the
Yeah.
cameras. I think that bit is really eerie. Yeah, you don't quite expect it.
Yeah,
the whole time.
It's
so-
breaking that wall where like I feel like it immerses you into the viewer of like not just
yeah.
watching the movie, but like you're in the 70s and you're watching the live
I think
version
so.
of it, very cool.
Yeah. What about you, Tal? Go on.
So I'm going to break your
Tal.
heart. I'm going to break your heart, Katie. Katie and I, for some reason at the moment,
Tal just keeps breaking my heart.
we're just opposite ends of the spectrum at the moment. I don't know why. I'm going to give it a 2 because again, the majority is good. There's good stuff in it. There's just
Katie looks broken.
I know. Again, I'm just here to break Katie's heart.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think you gave a low score on The Thing.
Yeah, and it
Insane.
fucking deserved it.
It
Thing
didn't.
was shit.
That's
Oh my God,
wild
you
to say
two,
that
like,
it
oh, you
deserved it.
just, oh.
Like,
The Thing
again,
is one of the best horror movies of all time.
Exactly.
I don't-
No.
Do you know what? It wasn't
You
appreciated at
guys
the
are
time.
crazy. Oh my
Yep.
God. That movie is unbelievable.
Exactly.
Is it though? Explain to me why. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not get into
It's
this.
fucking mid.
Yeah, that'll
like
be another
it is
hour.
mid as fuck.
We're
That'll
not
be
going to get into
another-
it. We won't get into it. Because we'll be here for another hour.
I
But
was really tempted to. I did put on the Instagram the other day. Who do I keep pissing off? And only one person was like, yes, you've pissed me off a lot. I was like,
You
okay.
pissed me off, Tal. I'll
Other
say
than,
that.
other than Katie. But the bit I meant, I fucking hope was not CGI, and was the worms. Like, not the
okay.
giant worm coming out his
No,
neck.
that was
the
definitely
biggest.
practical,
But
dude.
when
That
I was like, when
was
it came out his neck, I was like,
Yeah,
that is,
yeah.
I couldn't find enough on the makeup, to be fair, because I found the name and that was like it.
What a
that
weird
bit-
thing to throw in the movie.
Right?
Like, it was
But
so
I-
different. It was so different than everything else, you know?
Yeah, but it was also, I was so hoping that guy was going to lose and not
Right, right.
prove his point as well. That when he managed to get that, and it
Yeah,
was the
switch
fact
it
as
up.
well when he started pulling, and I was like, no fucking way he's going to pull worms out of his neck.
Right.
So that did really take me. Actually, I did.
You're
like that
eating
bit.
worms, David.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I mention the fact that like I fell in love with the characters immediately. Like
Yeah.
I hated Homeboy. I
Yeah.
love
was great
the
film.
Jack Delroy was like a perfect example of what a TV
Hmm.
show host should be like.
Yeah.
Just
The
all
doctor
about the
was,
ratings.
yeah, the doctor was
Mm.
perfect. The actors were absolutely
Mm.
everything was perfect for this
Mm.
fucking movie.
Could you relate
Except
a
for the
little bit
script.
to him? Could you relate a little bit to him as far as being like
As
content
wanting-
creators? Like,
Yeah.
Jack?
do you find
Doing it all
yourself
for the
like,
gram.
well, no, Taylor, like Taylor, we've had this conversation before where it's like, do you go the route of like, you know, what's gonna get like what clip is gonna get better views, what's gonna bring more people to your
Yeah.
page? You know what I mean? Like, not to say we've gotten to the point where like, oh, if we put this, like we're gonna get all these fucking views, but like, you know, we've been pretty steadfast on like, hey, we're kind of like punk rock, like we don't do the normal thing, but
Mm.
at the same time, like you want your brand to grow, right? Like everybody wants, like when you guys joined the You Run podcast, did you feel like, hey, we're gonna get a couple more views, we're gonna, join this family? Not saying you were selling you guys.
So what did
not saying
you
you're selling
sacrifice?
anything, but
No, but it is when you like again. If you're like, oh my god, we've spent ages editing this episode, or like
yeah,
now
it starts to weigh on you a little bit,
now doing the videos as well. You're like, oh, that's taking quite a bit of time, and then you're like, oh, cool, we didn't get that many views for it, and you're like, well, what? I do know what
Yeah.
you mean. It is that where you're like, oh, but again,
Yeah, not saying you sold anything, because I mean the You Run podcast seems like a collective thing of like
Yeah, no, it's lovely.
people who are promoting each other and like all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, in a sense, like it, to an extent, you're like, hey, what's gonna pop a little bit, like what clip is gonna make someone be like, hey, I like that, let's share this. It's like this weird,
I think it's,
you put that on the highest stage, you know what I mean? What lengths would you go to
yeah,
to
Mhm.
if someone could
Mm.
look at you right now and be like, hey, like if I came on here, I was like, hey, recording's done, just to let you guys know, if you join Check the Candy, you could be a million followers within.
But you have to sacrifice.
But
you have to sacrifice one of our souls.
well, not even that, but even just like some small shit. Like if I was like, yeah, but you can only record this time to this time, and you can only do the movies we tell you. You know what I mean? Do you make that sacrifice, or do you say, hey, that's not why we're in the business? You know what I mean? Like everybody would like to say, hey, that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because we love it.
Mm.
But who would take that extra step? You never know who's gonna take that extra step to be top dog, is what I'm saying.
Well,
It's a creepy thing.
you look back at like cults and stuff again, they typically go for members who, you go, oh, they'd never join a cult, but actually, how many
Yeah.
people join a cult? You're like, no fucking way. Like, because
Yeah.
again, they're promised something, or they have nothing to believe in, or they're in a really low point in their life. And it doesn't take a lot for people, unfortunately, to make a bad decision.
Yeah.
And again, if somebody's like, oh, we're going to offer you all this stuff, you think a little sacrifice is worth it, because you don't know the full story. So you can see why
it's
people
like
are
it's
end up
just
there.
this little this little sacrifice, but then it
I've
ends
Yeah.
up being a
Mm.
big
And then it
had
sacrifice.
snowballs.
I've had this weird thing for like the better
Don't do
part
it,
of,
dude.
like
Don't do it.
fif-
I'm part of Check the Candy too. Don't sacrifice it.
No. It's been
I'm
been
part
the
of this too, bro.
It's been a better part of 15 years that I've wanted to start my own religion. So
Oh shit, dude. Did you call it Check
it-
the Candy?
no, I
And I'm
wanna-
just randomly part of it, and I didn't know.
Yeah, no, you're gonna be a part of it, that's for sure. But in all aspects, it's a cult, and I really just want to say that I started a cult. That's it. So that's if that doesn't give anything. I wouldn't do shit. I would be like, nah, fuck you, fuck you.
The
I'm out.
laziest cult leader.
Like I even deleted all my shit off of YouTube, man. I'm fucking like I don't even want anything. Like I don't give a shit about anybody. Like
That's
I'm
why he
just here-
hated this
I'm just
movie.
here to
He
have
was like,
fun.
that's why he hated this movie. He was like, oh, this hits too close to home, dude. No, what we should do is start a new Instagram group with us 5, and we'll call it the Cult of Something. And it'll be our
Perfect.
cult. And we'll just
Yeah.
see if it kind of gradually
Let's do it.
builds.
Just post like once a year and see if it
Social
grows.
experiment.
That's it. Then just call it that.
Yeah, I love
The
it.
cult of the social experiment.
It's like that
All right,
time that
where
picture
were
of
we?
Renee
Where
got
were we?
more likes
We
than
were.
Kylie Jenner.
We are. Everyone has given their rating.
Yes.
So
What about this?
amazing.
What about your spooky? I didn't hear the spooky.
Mine was the worms coming out the net.
Oh yes.
Stomach. Not the eye, because that one was too
That-
far.
I-
but
You
I
don't do
fucking-
eyes.
I hated that, but the whole like ripping open the stomach there, that was so good.
Yeah, that
It's
was.
that
I
fun.
des-
love that.
yeah, but it was
Well, just when he was
That-
like, it's
too
getting hot in
fast.
here, and he starts to
Yeah.
fucking. What I
Oh
didn't
yeah, I
like
nicked
about
my
it.
neck shaving earlier.
yeah.
What I didn't like about it, and this is maybe it was like we were talking about with Hatchet, maybe this is part of it, but like his whole neck looked bloated the second he took his jacket off.
Yeah.
Like I knew that it was all fake, like something was gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they put this whole prosthetic on him, like I could tell, and I was like a little pissed about that. I was like, oh, fuck. I
Yeah,
know
but
something's
his
gonna
body's
happen.
full of worms. He's gonna be like,
That's true. That's true. I guess if you looked at it, but just in the moment, I was like,
Like
oh
what?
my god, they just like
fuck off, I could see you fucking
I wish
look and I did that, and I know you're gonna fucking screenshot that. Cunt. I know that you're gonna fucking screenshot that.
Oh god.
now. Wait a minute, she used cunt in a derogatory term right there.
Yeah, but
did.
loving-
How
loving
dare
is
she?
so-
You guys don't, which you guys don't usually do.
Mm,
Oh, yeah, I
loving
do.
is so.
Now I'm never gonna use the word again.
yeah,
It's
we-
sad.
If you're
That's
calling
sad.
someone like a cunt or a fucker while laughing, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm taking the piss out of myself because I know what's gonna come out of that.
Yeah, I'm not offended.
Amazing. Well, that was our last night with the devil episode. Joined
Late night.
Late night, whatever.
Last night with the devil. That might have been a lit movie too. Maybe that's the next one. That's part 2. Last night with the devil.
That's the X-rated version.
Yeah, I like it.
it. Joined by Check the Candy, and yes, we will be. Yeah, I won't make that joke. Check us out on all the socials, and check us out on YouTube now. Subscribe, follow, like, share, all that good stuff that gets us all the ratings, so we can have our own talk show and bring on a demon. Until then, join us, and see what we're up to next week for our next film. Until then, bye.
And if you
Bye.
guys liked Check the Candy on this episode or the episode before, make sure you let the Horror Friendly Podcast know. That way they'll bring us on again.
Sorry, I forgot to say that.
Fucking cunt.
Luckily, John's a professional.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper. Bye-bye.
These people between you two tonight. Don't die.
Oh look!
Get back to you!
Oh, God, I don't know why it does that. It's crazy. Can I do it?
John's fucking thing has a mind of its own.
Oh,
Oh,